my name's Vanessa and welcome to my channel Nourish-Eat Simply, where it's all about nourishing the body with tasty, healthy food. So today's recipe, it's all about okra. Now, people have, opinions about okra, and some people think it's slimy, they just don't like it. But some of the times it's just all about on how it's prepared. So I'm making an oven fried okra, and it's one of my favorites. I hope it becomes one of your favorites to make also. But this is going to be on the healthier side. So I'm going to get started on making this okra. So one of the secrets of keeping it less slimy, as some people don't like that texture, is to just kind of slice it down the middle. Now I've got some okra already that's been sliced down halfway, which kind of minimizes the slime. I'm going to continue to cut the rest of this okra up. So, like I said, people have a love-hate relationship with okra, okay? And I think when you have different techniques of minimizing that, it really does help. So I'm going to continue to just slice this okra down the middle. Now, I suggest using fresh okra when you're doing this. This particular okra that I'm using here, it's a different type of okra. So this is a long, kind of a long-tailed okra, which I get from an Indian market in my area. This is called Indian okra. And Indian okra from regular okra is just that. It's kind of, just longer in texture, and it's really, really good. So if you have an Indian market near you, I would suggest seeking this particular okra out. But if you don't have one, fresh okra will, any other fresh okra will work. One thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't go with frozen, and let me give you the reason why. I'm trying to achieve more of a crunch to this okra. Sometimes with frozen okra, which is fine for like gumbos and something a soup-like texture, it works okay for that. But with this particular recipe, I'm really trying to get some crunch on this. So for this recipe, I'm going to say stick with fresh okra. So it's going to have the best results, okay? So I'm just going to continue to cut the rest of this okra up. I grew up with okra with my parents making, gumbos a lot, and it being overcooked. But I didn't mind it being that texture of slime that people kind of complain about. But, I get it. I get it. It's a texture thing, just like a lot of other types of foods. So hopefully if you give this recipe a try, you're going to be thinking, you know what, let me give okra another try. And for my folks that already like okra, it's all good. So I'm cutting this in half. This is the last of my okra. I'm just going to place it into a kind of a big bowl, just like this, okay? And that's about it, all right? And then I'm going to take just one large egg. I got an organic egg. And I'm just going to lightly whisk this. And this is going to help us to bind our coating to our okra, okay? So I'm just going to do a light whisk on this. And then this is going to get poured over our sliced okra that I just sliced down the middle, okay? And then I'm just going to just pour this egg mixture over over the okra, sorry. All right. And then just going to take my fork and just lightly toss my sliced okra down here, okay? Now what you want to do is you want to have your oven preheated at 425 degrees, because you want a pretty high temperature for this to oven fry. If you have an oven fryer, this is going to cook really quick for you. And I'll let you know what that stage is when we get to that part about how to do that. So you just want to make sure this egg is evenly coated over all of this okra. And then you're going to just kind of set this to the side, okay? And let's talk about our toppings for this, okay? So traditionally, like my mom, she would make like fried okra, like nuggets, right? And they would be just kind of sliced down into chunks. So I'm doing this differently by slicing it down the middle. And then I'm also oven fried. My mother would do it with the cornmeal and the flour and her other seasonings, and then just fry it up into like these little nuggets that were delicious. But if you want to eat something that's not, heavy in the grease and all the oil, this is where it's at, okay? So I'm going to still take my mother's traditional recipe of using some cornmeal, which has great flavor. But I'm also going to be using a new ingredient that I discovered through ansonmills.com called bennecake flour. Okay, bennecake. I might talk about benny seed. It's called bennecake flour, and so bennecake flour is made from benny seeds. Okay, and benny seeds is kind of a vintage seed that has been around for quite a bit. So just kind of do a Google search on that, and you'll find a lot of history behind it. But basically, it has affiliation with sesame seeds, so it has kind of a nutty flavor to it. So definitely seek that out at ansonmills.com, where they have a lot of vintage grains. So that's my twist on here. So I'm going to be using cornmeal, mixture of cornmeal and some of this bennecake flour that's going to be used in this recipe, and then I'm going to season this up. Okay, so to do that, excuse me, I am going to add my ingredients to here. So I'm going to add my flour, my bennecake flour, and then I'm going to add in my cornmeal. Okay, and then I'm going to also add in some Old Bay seasoning and my Himalayan salt. And all the precise measurements are on my website that you can get this from. All right, and then I've got some smoked chipotle powder, some garlic powder, and onion powder. So I get a little heavy-handed with that. Okay, and then I'm just going to mix this up. So this is a good recipe because you have the healthy fats from the bennecake flour, and this is also gluten-free for folks that can't have gluten. So this is a good recipe that's got some crunch to it without relying on like flour. Okay, regular flour. We're trying to get away from the white flour as much as we can, right? Okay, so I've got this all mixed up, and we're all set with that. So to start making our dredge for our okra, we got all of our stuff together here. That's that seasoned mixture that I was talking about. And then I have the okra that's been sitting in the egg mixture here, okay? So all you have to do is, and what you want to do is just want to make sure that you just take out each, don't just grab this and throw it into your mixture because you're going to have some clumps. So just kind of take a few at a time, and then just kind of toss it with this flour mixture that I have here, okay, so that it evenly coats it, okay? And then once you do that, all you have to do is line them up on a baking sheet with parchment paper, because I like to keep it neat. So you just line them up like nice little neat soldiers, okay? And you don't want to overcrowd your pan because then it's going to steam instead of oven frying for you. So that's very important, okay? And then you're just going to continue, just make sure you get the excess egg off of that, and then just continue tossing this into your flour mixture. And then one thing I want to kind of point out too is that I use these seasonings. If you're not fond of like chipotle powder and garlic powder, you can always adjust your seasonings. That's what's great about certain recipes. You can make them your own. So if you're not fond about Old Bay seasoning, what I put in here, or the chipotle powder, don't put it in there. Put something else in there for what you like. Some people like cayenne pepper because they like the flavor, they like the heat. Just feel free to adjust to make it your own. Okay, but definitely seek you out some of that bennecake flour. I think you're gonna like this. It's definitely unique. If you don't want to seek that out, you could definitely sub with, maybe like almond flour or something like that. Something with a nut or seed flavor to it would be probably nice with this recipe. Okay, so I'm just going to continue to, line up my okra on these sheet pans. And like I said, if you don't have enough space on here, I would do 2 sheet pans to finish doing this recipe. Okay. Okay, so once you've got all of your okra that's been dredged in that flour mixture, okay, all you're going to do is take yourself a couple of tablespoons of avocado oil, you know, nice healthy oil that can have a high smoking point to brush your okra, okay? So this is going to help to assist it in um, making this okra crispy also, okay? So just kind of take like a pastry brush and then just kind of lightly take your brush and kind of give it a little bath on here, right? So it can kind of crisp up nicely for you, okay? So we're not like killing it with like, you know, a whole bunch of oil in the deep fryer, right? Or, you know, whatever vessel that you would fry in, right? So you're just going to continue to just kind of lightly, lightly put your oil on top of each slice of okra. And then it's going to bake in the oven, you know, 15-20 minutes, depending on how your oven acts up. My oven definitely doesn't keep a true temperature these days because I do a lot of cooking. But definitely, you know, let it go for like 15 to 20 minutes, you know, at that 425 temperature until it's, you know, lightly browned. And then also during that process, you want to make sure that you flip these halfway through the cooking process so that they evenly brown on both sides, okay? And that's going to be kind of key to giving this its crispiness, okay? So I'm just going to continue to add my oil to this okra. So we are finished with our oven fried okra. So this is what it looks like afterwards. So you can see that the okra has really shrink down because what it's doing when it's oven frying is getting a lot of that moisture out of it. But it really is a very simple vegetable recipe. These are great, you know, it's a nice side dish or to even just snack on, you know. Just very, very simple to do. And I'm just putting mine on this platter. As you can see, that coating's on here really, really good. So I give these a quick taste, okay? There's that crunch I'm talking about. Yeah, so definitely try making these at home. Very, very simple. And you can just kind of make it your own. I use the bennecake flour, but you could definitely, bennecake flour, I keep saying the same thing. Bennecake flour made from bennecake. But if you wanted to make this with chickpea flour, that would totally work also with that. That would be kind of more of an Indian kind of flair to it. But chickpea flour is also a great healthy alternative to this type of flour. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next time, I will see you guys later. Have a great day.